I got a banger for y'all today. That Breeze is actually Ghost's dad. And that's not my theory now. This actually comes from comments, because you know this is my fourth Who Is Breeze videos. If you actually watched the other three, it was me saying that I believe that Unique is Breeze, and I'm sticking with that theory, and I've said that since day one. That's been who I thought was Breeze since day one, and I still think that. But this actually, and especially once I did my own research on it, this is like mind-blowing right here, because I think this is a valid point right here, a valid theory is I guess what you would want to call it, valid theory. So let me read these comments and then get into what I also discovered also looking into this. The first comment said, definitely his dad. After the comments in the last episode of season 6, the name Breeze itself is similar to Ghost Street Night, something that is invisible and not, I think he meant street name, Ghost street name, something that is invisible and not seen nor heard. Tariq found out that Breeze was his grandfather and Ghost killed him, just like the above person said. History repeats itself. After Tariq gave him one last chance to change his mind. And we know that Ghost, I'm gonna get into it later, but Tariq gave Ghost one last chance to change his mind before killing him, because he was talking about turning him in. But anyway, I want to get into the second comment. He said, what if Breeze was Ghost's dad? In the last episode, his uncle make a vague reference to his dad getting mixed up with drug dealers, leaving us to guess that's how he met his demise. Then Tariq randomly asks why he killed Breeze, and we hear how Ghost loved him, but ultimately he had to kill him. This giving Tariq enough cause to kill his own dad. History repeating itself. Plus the show loves inner family killings. Just look at Kanan and Sean, Tommy and Tariq. Last but not least, they both have cool nicknames. I rest my case. And the final comment just said, I think Breeze was his dad, was Ghost's dad. So that was it. That was the comments that I got. And those are all very valid points. Now I want to look at this. How Breeze actually died. We know that Ghost, that he waited for Breeze to get home and shot him in the back of the head. Breeze never saw it coming. Just like Ghost when Tariq shot him. He never saw it coming. Matter of fact, he was surprised to see Tariq there. I think he asked Tariq, what are you still doing here? And that's when he, you know, pulled out the gun. Tariq did anyway. So he shot, this was, James waited for Breeze to get home because he watched Jeopardy every night. I think at 7 o'clock, that's what time it comes on, right? 7:30, whatever. But he came home, he knew what time he was gonna get home and watch Jeopardy. So he waited for him to get there, waited for him to start watching Jeopardy, and shot him in the back of the head while he was being entertained by Jeopardy. So I want to look at this. Breeze never saw it coming. But I want to look at this. How did Ghost get access into Breeze's place? This is what makes me really think this might be his dad for real. How did he get access into Breeze's place? Did he break into the place like we saw him do with Gregory Knox when he went to go snooping through Gregory Knox's place, ended up getting falsely accused of his murder because his fingerprints were all over the place because he broke in to go snooping? But did he break into Breeze's place like Kanan taught Tariq how to do? Or was he already living there? Was he already living there? if it was said that he broke in, because we do know that Kanan taught Tariq how to do that, so Ghost could have very well broken in and been hiding somewhere, or he could have actually not been expecting it at all, because he might even heard Ghost walking around, because he might have been living there. He might just thought his son was getting a bowl of cereal or something. So that is that. That's how Bree, and a lot of people, I want to say this. A lot of people think Breeze is the same age, keep saying that Breeze is the same age as Kanan. That's why it couldn't be unique. That's obviously what they're going to say. Breeze can't be Ghost's dad because he's the same age as Kanan. But never in Power was it mentioned that Breeze was the same age as Kanan. Never was it mentioned they were the same age. It just said that basically they made it known that Kanan and Breeze worked together like Tommy and Ghost. Basically, Breeze was the CEO and Kanan was the COO or whatever. Just like that would go, just like Ghost calling the shots and Tommy carrying out the orders. So that's how it went with Breeze. They didn't say what the age was. They didn't say they were the same age like Tommy and Ghost. If they're the same age, that only leaves Breeze to be one person, and that's Famous. Period. Because that's the only person in the movie, in the series he's growing up with who's the same age as him. So it could be Famous. If that's the case, that's who your Breeze is. But never in Power did it say. And if you can give me the episode number where it does say that Breeze was the same age as Kanan, I would love that. But if you can't provide that information for us, leave that stuff out the comments, please, and thank you. Alright, now getting into the Uncle Gabe bar scene. Last episode of Power, what the commenter was talking about. I want to get into that a little bit deeper. Uncle Gabe bar scene. So Ghost went in there. He did not want Gabe knowing him, and talked about him, started asking to buy the bar or whatever, told him about Rain and how he's dedicating it to her. And his Gabe said, Jamie, your dad would be proud of you. Told him he knew who he was from the time he walked in, and said he hadn't seen him since his dad was killed. And James, so he had, that's another thing, James tried to put Breeze out of his mind, or not Breeze, he tried to put his dad out of his mind when his dad was killed. He tried to put his dad out of his mind and never returned to that area again to visit his family or his uncle, whoever was there, ever again. He never came back. Went ghost. So he went ghost after that. He said he moved in with Tommy. I don't know. He said, remember him, the only white boy in the neighborhood? He said that's where he moved. But I don't know if that's actually, he might have been lying about that too. Then Gabe went on to say, those kids were bad news. I told him, and he talked about those drug dealers, those kids were bad news. And when he said that, Jamie, this was the last episode of Power. Not the 6 episodes after Jamie died, but the final episode with James in. If you want to go back and watch it. He said those kids were bad news. James did have a very troubled look on the face and appeared bothered, and he didn't want to talk about it too much. Okay? So that was the bar scene when he went in there. And then after later in that episode, as when he talked about the convo with Tariq and about Tariq needing to turn himself in is what's best for the family. But Tariq said, you need to tell me what happened with Breeze first. Tell me, he said, tell me everything you've ever did. Start with Breeze. I think that's the only thing he even told him. He said, I didn't want to kill Breeze. He said, I didn't want to kill Breeze. I love Breeze. And he seemed bothered. I think he sat down at that point. He said, I killed Breeze because he got in the way of my future. What Kanan couldn't tell you is I gave Breeze one more chance. I asked him to change his mind, and he didn't. He forced my hand. And that's the same excuse Tariq used for killing Ghost. That Ghost forced Tariq's hand. And honestly, that seems a lot more forced of a hand than... But we don't know what, because he was talking about... The uncle did talk about that the dad got it... the grandfather, dad, the Ghost dad got involved with some cops or whatever. And also in that final scene where Tariq kills Ghost, Tariq actually says, all this time, and you've never saw me for who I really am, Dad. I'm you. So that even makes even more of a point or a hint that Breeze was actually Ghost's dad. And he said, and you get in the way of my future just like Breeze got in the way of yours. And another clue that was left in episode 16, right before Tariq came over there to have that to Ghost Hotel to have that conversation with Ghost. Ghost is actually having a vision where he's talking to Raina, and he's basically talking to her about should Tariq have to turn himself in for Ray Ray or whatever. And she said to him that I had to pay for my mistake, so why shouldn't he? So this could also be turning around, instead of Tariq having to pay for his mistake, this could be actually Tariq killing Ghost. Could be Ghost having to pay for his mistake for killing Breeze, reaping what he sowed. Oh my. All the evidence is starting to point towards Breeze being Ghost's dad. Honestly, I think I've changed my mind throughout the course of this video. This is really starting to look like it might be the truth, though. That this is who Breeze actually is, that we've been waiting on all this time. Since we heard about him in season 2, whatever it was. But, of Power. So he forced his hand. So then we go to the last thing I want to get into here is Gabe's conversation with Tariq at Ghost James St. Patrick's funeral. And that's just a real quick conversation. He said, I'm Gabe, your father's uncle. You remind me of him so much. I think he said, I'm your Uncle Gabe, your father's uncle. You remind me of him so much. Something to that. But bottom line, he said, you remind me of him so much. That's the point I want to get at. And Tariq was like, he was confused. He said, I don't even look like him. And Gabe was like, yeah, but you're both smart. And he went on and said why he reminded him of his father. So he might have reminded him of it because he might know what really went down. It might be foretelling us what actually went down in both situations. And lastly, I said that was the last thing I wanted to say. But we also want to look at, the commenter did touch briefly on Tommy killing his own father, Tony Teresi, for snitching. And he was snitching on Ghost. Ghost could have got anybody. That was Tommy's point when he found out that Ghost was behind it and not the mob or whoever tried to Ghost put to make Tommy do it. But Ghost was intimate that Tommy needed to be the one. Vincent was the name of the mob boss. Yeah, when he went to Vincent, he was intimate that Tommy needed to be the one to do it. And Vincent even seemed like, are you sure you want him to kill his own dad? And Ghost was like, yeah, he needs to be the one to do it. Basically, I didn't go back and watch the episode, but I do remember the scene. And he was very strong about Tommy needing to be the person who actually did it. So with all these things point, it makes a very strong case that Breeze, the person we've been waiting for his identity to be revealed all this time, Breeze might actually very well be Ghost's own dad.